गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन यशोदानन्दन यमुना तीरा यमुना तीरा जय राधा माधव कुंज गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुना तीरा यमुना तीरा जय राधा माधव कुंज जय राधा माधव कुंज जय राधा माधव कुंज जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर सदी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि। All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gaurango. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatadishvataya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 5, Text 47. This chapter is entitled as Vidura's Talks with Maitreya. Tatha apare chatma samadhi yoga valena yitjitva prakritim balishtham tvam eva dhiraha purusham vishanti tesham sramaha syan na tu sevaya te. Tatha pare chatma samadhi yoga balena jitva prakritim balishtham tvameva dhira purusham vishanti tesham sramashanna tu sevayate. Tatha pare chatma samadhi yoga balena jitva prakritim balishtham tvameva dhira purusham vishanti tesham shramashanna tu sevayate. Tatha pare chatma samadhi yoga valena jitva prakritim balishtham tvameva dhira purusham vishanti tesham shramasyanna tu sevayate.
Purusham
Mataji's. Tatha, as far as apare, others, cha, also, atma samadhi, transcendental self-realization. Yoga means balena, by the strength of, jitva, conquering, prakritim, acquired nature of modes or acquired nature or modes of nature. Balishtham, very powerful. Tvam, you. Eva, only. Dhiraha, pacified. Purusham, person. Vishanti, enters into. Tesham, for them. Shramaha, much labor. Syat, has to be taken. Na, never. Tu, but. Sevaya, by serving. Te, of you. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Others were pacified by means of transcendental self-realization and have conquered over the modes of nature by dint of strong power and knowledge, also enter into you, but for them there is much pain, whereas the devotee simply discharges devotional service and thus feels no such pain. Please repeat after me. Others who are pacified by means of transcendental self-realization and have conquered over the modes of nature by dint of strong power and knowledge also enter into you. But for them, there is much pain. Whereas the devotee simply discharges devotional service and thus feels no such pain. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In terms of a labor of love and its returns, the bhaktas or devotees of the Lord always have priority over persons who are addicted to the association of jnanis or impersonalists and yogis or mystics. The word opere, others, is very significant in this connection. Others refers to the jnanis and the yogis whose only hope is to merge into the existence of the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Although their destination is not so important in comparison to the destination of the devotees, the labor of the non-devotees is far greater than that of the bhaktas. One may suggest that there is sufficient labor for the devotees also in the matter of discharging devotional service. But that labor is compensated by the enhancement of transcendental pleasure. The devotees derive more transcendental pleasure while engaged continuously in the service of the Lord than when they have no such engagement. In the family combination of a man and a woman, there is much labor and responsibility for both of them. Yet, when they are single, they feel more trouble for want of their united activities. The union of the impersonalists and the union of the devotees are not on a par. The impersonalists try to fully stop their individuality by attaining Sajuja Mukti, or unification of merging into oneness, whereas the devotees keep their individuality to exchange feelings in relation with the Supreme Individual Lord. Such reciprocation of feelings takes place in the transcendental Vaikuntha planets, and therefore the liberation sought by the impersonalists is already achieved in devotional service. The devotees attain mukti automatically while continuing the transcendental pleasure of maintaining individuality. As explained in the previous verse, the destination of the devotees is Vaikuntha or Akuntha-dhrishna, the place where anxieties are completely eradicated. One should not mistake the destination of the devotees and that of the impersonalists to be one and the same. The destinations are distinctly different, and the transcendental pleasure derived by the devotee is also distinct from chinmatra or spiritual feelings alone. Tatha pare chatma samadhi yoga balena jitva prakriting balishtham tameva dhira purusham vishanti teshang sramasanya tu sevayate. Others who are pacified by means of transcendental self-realization and have conquered over the modes of nature by dint of strong power and knowledge also enter into you, but for them there is much pain, whereas the devotee simply discharges devotional service and thus feels no such pain. So, the demigods are offering their prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And generally, when a devotee offers prayers to the Lord, they just express their heartfelt feelings. Like they often describe the glory of the Lord and wonderful activities of the Lord, and sometimes they also express about their situation in relation to the Lord. So here we are seeing that is what is happening. Another very remarkable prayer is Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita, when Lord Brahma saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his meditation, and when he saw the Lord, he just started to describe him. He described his abode, where he saw the Lord, how he saw the Lord. Then he described about Lord's beauty, Lord's power, and then he described about everyone's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And finally he described about the benefit of being a devotee of the Lord. So similarly here also we are seeing a similar kind of expression by the demigods. And at this point they are actually expressing or explaining the advantage and benefit of developing a relationship or connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the previous verse, what did they describe? What did the demigods say in the previous verse? In the previous verse, they said the advantage of becoming a devotee of the Lord. Just by being engaged in devotional service to the Lord, one very easily becomes elevated to the spiritual sky, and there they enjoy with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like previous verse, the demigod explained or expressed, O Lord, persons who because of their serious attitude attain the stage of enlightened devotional service achieve the complete meaning of renunciation and knowledge and attain the Vaikuntha Loka in the spiritual sky simply by drinking the nectar of your topics. Simply by drinking the nectar of your topics. What is that aspect of devotional service? Shravanam. That's the first aspect of devotional service out of ninefold devotional service. Shravanam. And when what does one have to hear? A devotee, what constitutes hearing as devotional service? Hearing about the wonderful activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Shravanam. And when one just hears about the Lord, just by doing that, here it is said that they can reach the spiritual sky, Vaikuntha Loka. Vaikuntha, Akuntha Drishnam. The situation where there is no anxiety. Actually, the word Vaikuntha means Vigata Kuntha iti Vaikuntha. And the same thing also has been pointed out here about the spiritual sky. Akuntha. Kuntha means anxiety. A means not. And Dhishnam means the place or the situation. The situation where there is no anxiety. That's the spiritual sky. And that situation can be achieved, or spiritual sky can be achieved, just by hearing the wonderful activities and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In simple words, one can go back to the spiritual sky just by hearing. He doesn't have to do anything. No more yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dhyan, dharan, samadhi. Very, very difficult process. So that is the thing that has been pointed out in this verse. Previous verse says that just by becoming engaged in devotional service, which is, what is the point that has been made in the previous verse? What is devotional service? Yes? What is, how it has been pointed out? The ultimate culmination of knowledge and renunciation. The ultimate culmination of knowledge is devotional service. The ultimate renunciation is devotional service. Gyan and Vairagya. Therefore, when one takes to devotional service, it is understood that he already got Gyan and Vairagya. It will automatically appear. Therefore, in Srimad Bhagawatam Mahatmya, it has been pointed out that Bhakti Devi personified devotional service personified Bhakti Devi has two sons. Who are those two sons? Gyan and Vairagya. So wherever the mother goes, the sons also go with the mother. Wherever there is devotion, Gyan and Vairagya is automatically there. Automatically there. And here also it has been pointed out from another perspective. There it has been pointed out where there is Bhakti, Gyan and Vairagya is automatically there. And here it is being pointed out that ultimate culmination of Gyan and Vairagya is Bhakti. And this Bhakti can be executed so easily. So easily. Just by hearing. Only by hearing. Anything that goes along with devotional service is joyful. Is it difficult to hear? Everybody loves to hear. Especially some fantastic stories. We all love to hear. Even not only the children love to hear, even the grown-up loves to hear about stories. And what can be more exciting stories than Krishna's pastimes? And these are not stories. Krishna's pastimes are not stories. Krishna's pastimes are the absolute truth. Stories can be fictional, fictitious. But the Vedic scriptures, whatever has been presented in the Vedic scriptures is the truth and nothing but the truth. And the absolute truth. That's what Vedic wisdom is, Vedic knowledge is, Vedic description is. So just by hearing the wonderful activities of the Supreme Personality of God, wonderful Krishna, you hear his activities, so exciting, so wonderful. And what are the other ways? Not only by hearing, there are other ways also. That follows hearing. When you start off your devotional service through the Shravanam or the process of hearing, along with what goes? Prasadam. Isn't it wonderful to eat such delicious prasad? What goes along with that? Kirtanam. Singing beautiful glories of the Supreme Personality of God. And then, when you hear singing, when you are into singing, then what happens? You automatically start dancing. So this is what devotional service is. Is it difficult? Everything is so easy and so ecstatic, so joyful. But then, after that, in today's verse, the next verse is saying, others. There is one group, those who have reached the culmination of Gyan and Vairagya and become engaged in devotional service. But there are others. Who are those others? Others means those who did not understand the culmination of Gyan and Vairagya. So who did not understand the culmination of knowledge? Who are they? Stupidos. Those who did not have knowledge, they are the fools. So what do the fools do? That is being described here. What they want to do. They want to follow the process of so-called Jnana. Now you see the difference. The culmination of Jnana is devotion. But there is another thing, another process. That is the process of Jnana and Yoga. these two processes also are part of spiritual activity. And through that process, when one achieves the ultimate perfection, then yes, he also achieves that position, the spiritual position. But what kind of spiritual position? The impersonal spiritual position of merging in the effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They just get stuck with the effulgence. They can't go beyond that. They can't go beyond that. So these are the others. One is the devotees and the others. That means those who are not devotees, those who are non-devotees, yet they are spirituals. What is their situation? That is being described here. Tatha apare. Apare means others. And cha atma samadhi yoga. They are engaged in Atma Samadhi Yoga. Samadhi means transcendental self-realization by means of yoga. Balena. Balena means they are very powerful personality. With great power. Through this process of Samadhi Yoga, Jitva Prakriting Balishtham, they conquer this material nature, Prakriti, Jara Prakriti. They apparently conquer the material nature. How is it? See, the material nature is trying to attract the living entities towards this illusory concept. Now they conquer that. They overcome the influence of the material nature, and then what happens? Jitva Prakriting, they conquer. Then Tameva, they also Dhira Purushang Vishanti. Vishanti means enters. Vishanti means enters. And Purushang is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They enter into the personality of Godhead, and by entering there they become pacified, peaceful. Dhira. They become dhira. They become peaceful. But what is the next point? Tesham Shrama Syam. What they get? They only get Shrama. Shrama means distress, misery, labor, useless labor. Now you see the comparison? In one hand there is devotional service, and there is, on the other hand, there are other practices, apparently spiritual. But what is the result? The result is Shamena. Shama eva hi kevalam. And Krishna in Bhagavad Gita makes the same point. What is that verse? Klesha adhikataras tesham abhyakta shakta chetasam. Klesha adhikatara. Adhikatara. Increasingly. Greater and greater klesha. Those who are abhyakta shakta. There also, the next verse, and the 12th chapter was the next verse describing. The next verse is describing the same thing. On the other hand, those who have become engaged in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead with love and devotion, what happens? Krishna delivers them from the Mrityu Samsara Sagara, from the ocean of death. This material nature, which is an ocean of death. Krishna delivers them from this miserable existence in this ocean of death, and they become situated in the transcendental nature. The same thing. Here, the devotional service aspect has been described first, and then the apare, the others. And there, the abhyakta shakta, those who are attached to the impersonal aspect of the Lord, their situation has been described, and after that it has been pointed out what do the devotees derive? What is the benefit of the devotees? Dancing, they go back to the spiritual sky, simply. Ecstatically, they move towards the spiritual sky. Therefore, that's the advantage of devotional service. Devotional service, at the beginning it is wonderful. Well, you can say at the beginning it's painful, it may be. That is one way of looking at it. At the beginning it is painful, as Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu pointed out. But then at the end, it's blissful. And materialistic way of life, at the beginning it is blissful, and at the end it is miserable. Materialistic, this is the difference between materialistic life and spiritual life. But when it comes to devotional service, it is actually, at the beginning it is blissful, in the middle it is blissful, at the end it is blissful. When you accept devotional service, then what happens? Actually, the painful aspect is to give up the material habits. Is painful. Like for a person who is addicted to drugs, for them to give up the drug, this addiction is very difficult. It's very difficult. But that is their bad habit. To give up the bad habit is devotional service. But giving up the bad habits of that one has, then when it comes to devotional platform, then what? What is the first 2 leaves of devotional service out of 6? Devotional service has 6 aspects. Kleshagni and Shubhada. The first thing is goodbye to kleshas. Kleshagni. The Gni means actually to kill. Mr. Klesha has been murdered. So that is what happens at devotional service. And Mr. Auspiciousness is invited. Get rid of Mr. Klesh, and Mr. Auspiciousness, Subhada, is invited. So that is what devotional service does. So same point is being established here. At the beginning it's blissful, at the middle it's blissful. That means when you accept devotional service is wonderful, isn't it? I remember what happened to me when I decided, not even entered. I was reading Nectar of Devotion, and while reading the book I decided, okay, I'm going to surrender. And at that point, what did I experience? For the first time in my life, I realized what peace actually means. Peace of mind, peace of heart is. Why? Because at that time it came to me as a realization, from now on I won't have to worry about myself anymore. I'm surrendering to Krishna, and Krishna is going to take care of me. And what a relief it is. So, Klesha Agni. Just by one stroke of Bhakti Devi, Mr. Klesha was assassinated. Finished. So even when we resolve to surrender to Krishna, this is what we achieve. From now on, there is no more anxiety. From now on, I don't have to worry about anything. Just by reading, I had that understanding. Reading Prabhupada's books. And doesn't Krishna take care of us? We surrender to Krishna, and what does Krishna do? Is Krishna so irresponsible that he doesn't take care of us? If we remain sincere, Krishna takes care. Well, if we become a nonsense, then it's different. If we pretend to be a devotee but don't really accept devotional service, rather try to exploit Krishna, then Krishna says, okay, don't vitiate the atmosphere. Keep the atmosphere clean. So if you want to exploit, then go to Maya's lap. I made a very beautiful arrangement for your enjoyment. Go and enjoy in Maya. But the spiritual platform of devotional service is exclusively meant for the ones who are surrendered souls. There is no room for exploitation. Those who will come to exploit, the one may come, being artha, being artharthi. But if he is sincere, that attitude will go away. That is how wonderful Krishna consciousness is. But one has to be sincere, one has to accept the process properly. Like somebody may even come to Krishna with an attitude to think, with an attitude to steal. Like a thief heard that Krishna is wearing nice, expensive jewelry. He thought, well, let me go and steal. But when they went to steal, they found Krishna to be so attractive that they fell in love with Krishna. They forgot about stealing. Krishna is the biggest thief. Chauragraganya. Krishna is the best in every field. Even among the thieves, he is the best of the thieves. And what he does, he steals our mind. We may go to steal the ornaments of Krishna, but Krishna will steal our mind. That is how wonderful Krishna is. So in whichever attitude we go to Krishna, we simply have to be sincere. That's about the only thing. We have to be sincere in our surrender. Then Krishna will accept us, Krishna will reward us, Krishna will take care of us, Krishna will do everything. So that is how wonderful Krishna consciousness is. But in order to do that, we have to become sincere, and being sincere means pure heart. We should not have any impurities in our heart. Any ulterior motive should not be there. So time and time again in the scriptures, this point has been established. There are two paths. It can be classified in this way. There are two types of people. Devotees, non-devotees. Or I won't even go to that. Even before that. Materialist, spiritualist. Isn't it? There are two types. One type, they are materially completely engrossed. And those who are interested in spiritual life. Those who are interested in spiritual life, among them there are two types. Personalist and impersonalist. And then among the personalists, the devotees, again there are two types. The spontaneous devotee, the Aishwarjapar Bhakta and Madhurjapar Bhakta. The devotees who are attracted by the opulence of the Lord and those who are attracted by the sweetness of the Lord. Those who are attracted by the opulence, they go to Vaikuntha. Those who are attracted to the Lord due to their spontaneous love for the Lord, they go to Vrindavan. And then among the devotees of Vrindavan, there are four types. The servants, the parents, like it's a matter of loving relationship. There are four kinds of love. The love of a servant for his master, love of father and mother towards the children, before that is love of friends, the love among love of friendship, love of parental, and love of conjugal. Just love of as lover and beloved. In this way there are gradual classifications deciding the ultimate goal of spiritual life. What is the highest spiritual platform? Among all these lovers of Krishna, which is the greatest one? Those who are in conjugal. In conjugal also then there are two camps. The camp of Srimati Radharani and camp of Chandravati. But between these two, which one is superior? Radharani's camp is superior. And then in Radharani's camp, who is the greatest? Srimati Radharani is the greatest. So this is how the ultimate consideration, ultimate goal of the spiritual path has been very, very clearly established. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions?
This expression of increasing misery for the impersonalists is given, but my question is, but at the end, when it is said that they also attain Krishna, is it that then also they have misery?
Okay, good point. Again, among impersonalists, again there are two types. The positive impersonalists and negative impersonalists. The negative impersonalists are called the Mayavadis. They are the offenders. They never get to reach the spiritual sky. They don't get an entry to the spiritual sky. Because they are offenders. Why an offender be allowed? Those who are averse to the Lord, they cannot enter into the spiritual sky. What to speak of those who are offensive to the Lord? Right? So these offenders can never enter into the spiritual sky. On the other hand, they actually lose their consciousness and become gross matter. And those who are positive, they ultimately come to the devotional platform. Like either they generally reach the state of Shantaras. The positive impersonalists either reach the Shantaras, or by the mercy of the devotee of the Lord, they transcend that impersonal concept and come to the personal concept. Okay, any other question? Yeah, answer.
Ramananda's question.
Haribol Ramananda.
Do we have to make special endeavors to remember, or does it come automatically? To remember what we heard.
Do we have to
make special endeavors to remember, or does it come automatically?
Yeah. Well, yes, it will. First of all, the remembrance and forgetfulness is also given by Krishna. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. So ultimately it's Krishna who actually gives us the remembrance or memory, or he makes us forget. But the point actually is that in the spiritual state of existence, the ignorance has been removed. So there is no forgetfulness as such about your relationship with Krishna, because that forgetfulness is removed already. Again, by ignorance, the soul becomes covered in the material nature. The spirit soul, who is actually in pure consciousness otherwise, Generally, the spirit soul is in pure consciousness. But that pure consciousness of the pure spirit soul becomes covered by ignorance. And that's how he falls in the material nature. So by the process of devotional service, that ignorance is removed. So when ignorance is removed, then what you have? You have knowledge. And knowledge is that remembrance. Alright.
Next question is from Jayesh Prabhu from Kolkata. Sometimes we see that even the pure devotees of Lord are also in tension and anxiety. What it happened, why it happened even to the pure devotees of Lord?
That anxiety is spiritual anxiety. And that anxiety is not the source of misery, but that anxiety also is the source of joy. So for a devotee, anxiety is also a source of joy, and bliss also is the source of joy. Like another consideration is, yes, this anxiety is not present in Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, the devotees don't experience anxiety. Because they are situated in knowledge, they have, all the time they have the awareness that Krishna is Narayan can provide anything. There is nothing to worry about. He can give protection, but in Vrindavan, there is anxiety. And that anxiety in Vrindavan is there to enhance the joy of Krishna consciousness. For example, a demon comes in the spiritual sky, and the one becomes very worried, very afraid. He is in anxiety. But then Krishna kills that demon. Then they become ecstatic. Now, this anxiety is there to enhance the joy of ecstasy. If they had the understanding, well, Krishna can kill any demon, then would there be any excitement? Yeah, I know Krishna is God, Krishna can kill, I don't have to worry. Krishna is there, so I don't have to worry about it. So because there is no anxiety, the degree of joy is less. But and what is anxiety in the spiritual sky doing? It is enhancing the experience of ecstasy. Like the devotees are seeing Kaliya has got Krishna. Krishna is in the coil of Kaliya. Yes, they are in anxiety. Very much anxiety. That's the difference between Vaikuntha and Vrindavan. They're in anxiety. They're in so much anxiety that they're fainting. They fainted. They're even thinking of, Nanda Maharaj is just thinking of just entering into the water and do something to rescue Krishna. Right? Mother Jashoda is thinking of giving up her life, just drowning in the Jamuna. Yes, anxiety is there. When they're seeing Krishna in the coil of Kaliya, there is this acute anxiety. But after that, when they see that Krishna is out of the coil and he is dancing on the on the head of Kaliya, then what? See that, because of that anxiety, the ecstasy becomes multiplied by manifold. So that is why in Vrindavan there is anxiety. And in the Vrindavan, when you take to Vrindavan mood, there will be anxiety. In Vaikuntha mood, you won't have any anxiety. So now the choice is yours, whether we'll take the Vrindavan mood or Vaikuntha. We decided to take to Vrindavan mood. Let there be anxiety, because we know that the greater the anxiety, greater will be ecstasy. Okay.
Next question from Ujjain. is it possible that Krishna even takes our business or people or household or family away from us to give us time to study his pastimes?
When you are surrendering to Krishna, be ready to accept anything. Krishna may take everything away from you, or Krishna also give everything to you. Just be open with the full confidence that when you surrender to Krishna, nothing can be better than that. Even if Krishna takes everything away from you, that is also ecstatic. Because by taking everything away from you, Krishna is going to give you something that you can't even imagine how wonderful that is.
One supplementary question from Jayesh Prabhu. We see that in temple devotees they are in anxiety. So can it be said that the temple devotees are in Vrindavan, not in Vaikuntha?
Yes, they are in Vrindavan mood. They are in Vrindavan mood. That is why they are feeling the anxiety.
And next question from Aparajita Mataji. What are the symptoms of a devotee who is sincere, and how do we recognize it?
The symptom of a sincere devotee is that he or she is sincere. She is sincerely trying to surrender to Krishna, serve Krishna, and please Krishna, just like you are doing, Aparajita. Thank you. Yes, Nilamani, you are about.
It was a related question, Mark. It was around the point you made about Kleshagni. Sometimes in initial attempts we think we're trying to perform devotional service, but in so doing we experience so much anxiety that it actually disturbs our sadhana, our peace of mind, and so forth. So the question was, why does that occur, and what should we do in that kind of situation?
Yeah, you see, I mean, even if it is there, isn't it apparent? It's there, but it's not going to last for very long. It is because of our material conditioning that we are experiencing that. Like as I mentioned, like all that is due to our bad habits, due to our material conditioning, due to our attachments. Like, you see, say for example, like no matter how much you worry, can you really do anything about it? By worrying we cannot do anything. On the other hand, we can see, like when we look at it, in retrospect, say after some time, then you see that, well, I was so much in anxiety, I was worrying so much, but everything has been perfectly resolved. Right? So, like one thing is that this anxiety is there because of our ultimately it is because of our lack of confidence in Krishna. So that is one kind of anxiety. But then we come to devotional platform and then we experience another kind of anxiety. Like, say you want to build a temple for Krishna and there are some obstacles. Right? It's causing you great anxiety. But eventually you will see that through this anxiety, Krishna is, preparing you to become a better devotee, achieve something wonderful for him. Like, obstacles are there. What does ultimately say in Krishna consciousness, in spiritual life, especially in Krishna consciousness? The obstacles come, but then by Krishna's mercy the obstacles are removed. And when the obstacles are removed, although they came like a stumbling block, but when it is overcome, then what happens? That stumbling block, which appeared to be a stumbling block at the beginning, becomes a stepping stone. So all that happens in our devotional life is actually Krishna's arrangement to make us progress further. Okay, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande.